I'm going to read you a quick article with Toure, who sat down on, I think, June 28th, 2024, with Robert Smith, one of the richest black men in America. It's on the screen right now, so you'll know the title, so you can sit there, read that right quick. The following is the article. I have wanted to interview Robert Smith for a long time precisely because he's the richest black man in America. That's a stunning achievement. According to Forbes, he is worth $9 billion. He's won the game of capitalism and spent a lot of time giving money away. He's a philanthropic leader who once spoke at Morehouse in 2019, then paid off the academic debt of the entire graduating class. He combines brilliance in science, savvy in the world of finance, and interpersonal skills to make lots of people want to work with him. I met Smith on the set of Masters of the Game in Manhattan, was immediately struck by his charisma. He's brotherly, he's avuncular, he's warm and welcoming. You can see why so many people want to be around him. The interview premieres on Saturday afternoon on the Griot cable network. Smith grew up in Denver and was an engineering prodigy. As a teenager, he developed a critical new part for semiconductors. In college at Cornell, he won an award for excellence in chemical engineering. He got an MBA from Columbia and landed at the iconic Goldman Sachs. He ended up convincing Goldman Sachs to take a chance on the tech world at a time when the tech world was just beginning to explode. That helped him become wealthy. Then he left Goldman to find his own venture capital firm, Vista Equity Partners, which became one of the leaders in Silicon Valley venture funding. Smith's Vista has over $100 billion in assets under management. We all think about money, but it's complicated, emotional, sometimes exciting, sometimes scary. I wanted to know what Smith's emotional relationship with money has been throughout his life. I wanted to talk about what he did interpersonally to help him succeed in the lily white world of finance. I wanted to see if he takes pride in being the richest black man in America. Does that matter to him? If you care about money, this is an important interview. You might learn how to make your own million. The interview is going to be on something on the Griot because the Griot also has its own website. This is where I got this from. First, I'm going to address what's called Masters of the Game. Now, why do you think they titled the whole interview platform Masters of the Game? Because if you want to make that future generational wealth, you have got to play the game. And the game involves and entails a lot. Again, it's important that I give you the disclaimer because I'm home, I'm not feeling too well, but I want to cover this article because it's so meaningful. My cat's gonna make noise in the background. It just is what it is. Sometimes she does it sporadically and sometimes she can do it continuous. Now, let's get back to the article. I can remember immediately as a kid understanding the phrase, no man is an island. And if you are a person that's gender neutral, don't get mad at me. That phrase was around before we started living off of pronouns. So I'm not going to change it to suit people's easily hurt feelings. There are repeated interviews with Robert Smith that I didn't have to watch and hadn't had time to watch, but there's one recurring theme with him. This ideal that you think you're going to build wealth without teams, without communities, by yourself is absolute nonsense, whether you are introverted or extroverted. This ideal you're going to do your own thing. is not going to work. He came from a background of engineering. He went into finance, and now he's the richest black man in America. Okay. Let's discuss why him going to Morehouse is significant and important. The Morehouse of 2019 is not the Morehouse of Martin Luther King Jr. What I mean is that Morehouse that he helped in 2019 is in the digital world. Hadn't gone towards artificial intelligence yet, but it's in the digital world. And understands that the pain that black men have suffered in a while is on full display. And that paying off their debt gives them the opportunity to pay it forward while helping their own communities in whatever way they can. It wasn't just a man that sat there, oh, I'm going to throw my wealth around and pay all of your college off. No, it was much more than that. It was sparing an entire generation, okay, of unnecessary debt so that they can go ahead and just start building. There's a huge amount of significance of that we think, oh, he just did a wonderful thing. Those sweet boys can now go get a home and have the American dream. No, there's more to it than that. That one act of kindness, we don't see it right now. But for the ones who decide to pay it forward, because I think there have been interviews on this since then, you're going to see impacts of that one act in the next. It's 2024 at the time I recorded this. It'll be well into 2025, going to 2026 by the time y'all hear it, because I recorded this in advance. I would say by 2035, 2040, you're going to see the fruits of the seed he planted on that Morehouse campus that day. And how the few young men who saw this as more than an act of making their lives better are going to take this and run with it. That's what makes Robert Smith significant. Not that he's the richest black man in America, but that he did something that some people thought were dumb because they didn't catch the huge amount of significance of it. Okay. He went into a world of finance at the time when black men were not a huge presence in that world, okay? Eddie Brown did the same thing. Their paths followed a similar trajectory. They went into one career, and that one career ended up in another, which is finance and earning their own firms. Sorry, I'm losing my words here. These are men that had set themselves up from the jump to be successful because they knew what the alternatives were, and those alternatives were not good. They also made a name because Eddie Brown followed the same trajectory. Only Eddie started at Howard, which is an all HBCU, whereas it seems like in this article Smith didn't do so. Okay. Semiconductors, that's no small feat. This is a very smart man. So last but not least, because I wasn't going to carry this long, as I said, no man's an island. These people like Smith will be the first to tell you he did not do this by himself. He had to be around the smartest people in the room, the think tanks, the groups, to get to where he is so that he could bless those young men at Morehouse. You have to pass this stuff down from generation to generation for it to make a lot of sense. This general ideal that you're going to do things by yourself and build by yourself, as I said in a previous video, probably on this channel, because I tried to be that person as an introvert. I'm going to do it all. and I got sick. My body physically started to break down. Look, you don't have to take my cautionary tale. If you're listening to this right now and that is you, you're going to start to see that deterioration unless you pull back. And oh, I'll just drink a lot of water and take care of myself. Now, at the time of this recording, I have a low salt intake, and then my breathing is labored, and I have to watch myself all the time. Don't think for a second the stress I put on myself isn't the reason I'm in this position. That whole lone wolf, I'm a man on my own island, I'll survive on my own. That's a lonely existence. For some of you who claim you're going to be billionaires and build it on your own, that's just not going to happen, not in this world. And it's not even because you're trying to avoid corrupt people. It's because, okay? It's because to get to that height, you're going to have a little bit of visibility. Someone's going to have known you and helped you up that ladder. Get off of this ideal that you can be on your own tropical island and survive by the hair of your skin. You can't. We are social creatures by nature. Even your most introvert like me is on here building relationships. There's a reason for that. You can move in silence to do what you do. You just can't do everything by yourself.